Okay, so I think I got everything going. Oh, don't want feedback on that. And let's unmute desktop audio. So that should have the music going. I can close this. Let's pause you. So I see comments from there. And where are the comments section here? Chat app. Open in browser. And there we go. So I think I should see some comments. Stream going. Thank you very much. Yeah, just all older stuff. I figured I'd start putting up a little bit up in there. And I don't know if I'm gonna get the Picardo chat. So let's sign in there. That's not playing automatically. Okay, so thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when I add custom animation for the whatchamacallit, alerts and all that kind of stuff. That'll be later because I want to build it to work with the theme. Oh, right, and I can show off the main character. So this is I just kind of finished like the first round of concept art for the main character of this game project. So Skylar here, her sword sheathes into the shield. I thought it was interesting. It came up with just when I took the shield design and put it on top of the sword in order to kind of get a feel for the shape language and all that kind of stuff. And so here at the bottom, it's her kind of like drawing the sword out. And we're going to get back to this piece today. And what I'm going to do is I am going to draw on top and just simplify the shapes a lot. I ended up doing this for the main character when I was planning her out. I didn't even finish putting that stuff in here. Because in some of her earlier designs, she had more detail, and then I sat back because I wasn't like 100% happy with it, and so I ended up just zooming way out and just thinking of like some big shapes. Because even here in my sketchbook, I was using some model reference, and so I thought that was like cool in order to try out and mess around with some shapes some more. And that's what came to this design. And I figured it'd be alright because the camera's going to be behind her anyways. You don't need her face for the most part. And I still have her eyes and her eyebrows for some cool possibilities with expression. Keeping it simple. And the sword came out first, and the shield, I just wanted to flow a little bit more from where the sword went in. So I'm still not like 100% keen on it, but it's something. Okay, so let's take a look at some shapes here. So we have this like mountain shape. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's something that seeing her design coming through made me see more and more the potential for her moving around in the game engine and performing like jumping, running, dodging attacks. And I'm still up in the air on if I want to be very quick combat, or if I want it to be a little more like quicker like Monster Hunter, or a little slower like Dark Souls. I'm kind of leaning on the quicker just because I like that a little bit more, but we'll see. What I wanted to do for that is, well, one, I like drawing women more. They have more interesting shapes. And also, I wanted to give another opportunity to have a potential, like, badass female heroine out there, as opposed to a hero. There's plenty of heroes in gaming. It'd be nice to have another, like, kick butt female lead, even in this like simple sense. That's kind of the idea behind it in general. Just something that would be cool, that where it could be like, fuck yeah, she's awesome kind of deal. Simplify these shapes a little bit more. Yeah, and I might go and darken up her skin tone a little bit more, because I wanted her, like, I don't want to seem like I'm riding on the whole like, let's make the main character ethnic and all this kind of stuff, but you know, I just wanted to get some more variety in there when it came to that. is it not playing through? Oh, it is. And hello. How's everybody doing on this fine day? And I kind of want... Let's get more of like the entrance to this dungeon space right here. Because I think that's what was missing. It was just... There were some things about this background that I was just kind of like, it's missing a little something. Yeah, and with this, though, like, there's nothing that compares her to the environment, so it's hard to tell what her scale really is. I do plan on using her. I'll put her back in here just to give that sense of scale, and it'll help with everything else. And I will have some concept pieces of, here's her right beside a random village building, maybe a couple of them, just so that it gives a better idea of the size relation. Yeah, thanks. I spent some time today to look up free, copyright-free, open source music to play, and I wanted something that's a little more chill. Yeah, and like one of the long-term ideas is having more than just the sword and shield, having different kinds of weapons. Because it'd be cool to, and that'll be like a later thing. I'm not gonna worry about that right away because it's not a core game mechanic. I want to keep core first, and then deal with extras after, pending time and everything. Because when it comes to extra weapons, then I gotta start thinking of like the balancing act and all that fun stuff. But I want to give options for the players to play the way that they want, in a way of how they want to build their characters, stats, and everything. There are a bunch of ideas that I'm roaming around, and again, it goes down to, we'll see what happens after I get the core down. One of it is the idea of other weapon types. Another one is, as your character levels up, do I let you have access to edit stats however you want? Stuff like that. So it's just exploration. It's the great thing is it's the early time, so there's a lot of variety and options and choices. But despite all of those options and choices and everything, I want to make sure that it doesn't get lost in all the details, that the core is set up first so it's strong, so that if, let's say, okay, enough is enough, let's get this game out, then it is solidified. Because that is important to me. Is I want to make sure that I finish this project. So, like, for example, maybe I'll have like a repeat of that gate shape that is right up here. Actually, maybe I'll make it like much bigger. Ooh, actually, let's make it bigger, like this, and then this mountain is actually like off in the distance, even more so. And the cool thing is, with doing these streams, I can go over like the ideas and everything with you guys. And if any of you are like, sounds stupid, then, cool, whatever. Hey Danny, I am going to be using Unity for this. I started learning some Unity basic coding through some Udemy workshops and stuff like that, and we'll see how that goes. Oh, thanks. Yeah, about the slideshow thing, I wanted to showcase some other artwork that has been completed, so it's not like, well, he's just drawing some simple shapes, like for 2 streams. What's up with that? But yeah, Unity, because I've been using Unreal for a long while, and I was like, you know what, let's take a look at Unity, because I feel like I'm very biased towards Unreal, because it's very quick to make models look pretty, but I also have to think of game engine and all that kind of stuff, and programming, and since it uses C++, I was like, okay, and I didn't know any C++ before that, or C# even for Unity. I just had like some basic concept of Java, and I was starting to teach myself some Python basics for building rigging tools in Maya. And I keep looking at the chat when I should be looking over at the camera because I'm talking to you guys. So I was like, you know what, let's take a look, because once you have an idea of the basics, it's not that bad. Like variables, ifs, for statements, while loops, all that kind of stuff, arrays, or whatever they'd like to call it with that specific programming language. But I know that there's more detail that I'll need to dive into, like these things called dictionaries and all that kind of stuff. So in case, if you stopped in recently and you're like, well, Josh, you had this piece, why are you now doing like some simple shapes? I'm just trying to simplify it and play around with improving the composition. Like here, I'm gonna take this out because I want to have a similar arch off in a distance, and it gives an idea of how far these two are depending on the change in the size. So I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit more. So I want it to be a little smaller than that. But I want it to tilt the opposite way just so it doesn't feel like it's just a copy-paste job. And there's the entrance right there. Now we can get some buildings in here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it on another layer just to make my life a little bit easier. And here's another way where I can start messing around with some repeated shapes. Maybe there's like this crossroad that's over here. I don't like that crossroad. It's messing with the flow. That follows, so just Unity. Oh, for sure. Unity seems pretty nice and friendly opening. Like, this is going to be 3D, which I'm going to be kind of shooting myself a little bit in the foot with, because I could probably get it done much quicker if I stuck with 2D. But I didn't want to do sprite based right away, and I wanted to mess around a little bit more. But I am using there we go. I'm using this Scott Rogers Level Up book. Let's see if it's in view. Yeah, so Scott Rogers level up, and he goes through the process talking about building a game design document, all that kind of stuff, starting off with 1 page, then doing a 10 page, and then the beat chart for the full gameplay and all that kind of stuff. And it's a great way to think of the necessary planning, which I'm looking forward to. I already worked on the 1 pager, and I'm in the process of starting the 10 pager, but I already have some ideas set up for the beat chart even, which is like the different acts or stages or whatever for the game itself. Yeah, the town, those buildings seem a little on the big side. Let's make them smaller. So I want them like super small, and let's have some of them like in the background. And maybe one here, but I want to kind of keep this open and visible, because that's important. It's an important element to this design. And that's a little on the big side. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this process, new project. It was a great, finishing that art book was such a wonderful experience for letting me just walk away from some of those unfinished story projects that I never got around to completing, that like I've had since high school and later. And so I was like, let's start something new, something fresh, and see it to the end. And I wanted to try building games, building like a game, because I always enjoy playing video games. And when I was young, like in early grade school, I'd make video games. Well, not video games, but like I'd make games on like graph paper and draw like the monsters, like RPGs that like my friends would in the neighborhood would play, and all that kind of stuff. So, and since I only knew about like regular dice, like the 6-sided dice, that was like the only randomization element, along with the graph paper and all my notes and all that fun stuff. So it's looking a little bare over here, and this is where I kind of want to start thinking of some other elements to fill up that space a little. But what I'll also do is, let's get our heroine in here. And yeah, so some of you may have seen on some of my uploads earlier on that I was working with this pose sheet right here, and it's what's going to be for Skylar when I do the full production painting, like production pipeline sheets. So, and I think I have the finals. Yeah, here I still have to like push the poses a little bit more, but these are like the top 5 that I'm going to do with building the pose sheet, and then have the turnaround before I get into the modeling side of things. So that'll be fun. I'll probably end up doing that on stream, expanding them and drawing them out. So yeah, there we go. And what I'll do, and I'm trying to be mindful to not push my artwork, not push what I'm painting this way too far where the slideshow is hiding it. So, and I still have to figure out some more cool things to do with the slideshow and the UI of the stream and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just do that so that she stands out a little bit more. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's just constantly working at it. The one thing that I wish I didn't do in some regards was spread myself out so much. But it's kind of hard not to when everything's so much fun to do. But we'll see how I can go with just me developing this game, how far I can get it. Let's get back to addressing this like big empty space. But thank you very much for that wonderful words. Maybe just some mountains that are off in the background. I think out there, I don't even like that right now. Just paint right on top of it. It's quicker than all these undos. So the thought process right now is this main character is important. This is actually important. Well, like really the mountain, but it's the entrance that's through this town. And that's why this is important, this road and how it maneuvers around. It kind of like guides your eye there. This is framing. And I want to, and these lines carry you down in that direction. These lines will carry you down that way. This is also helpful in framing. So with here, what I might do is I just might add in like some wispy clouds that kind of help direct the eye, just to fill that space and all that kind of stuff. That's the thought process. So we'll see how execution goes with that. And in general, I'm still keeping with these simple shapes for now. Oh, getting a little choppy. I'm going to save this new version and just crunch it down to a smaller image size. So edit, change image resolution. Let's change it down to a good old 72 dpi. There we go. I don't have to worry so much about it being chuggalicious. Something like this. And I can think of like some overlapping elements too to help out with that. Liking this so far, and if something seems weird or if there's any like critiques that you may have, I'm all ears, honestly. So no artwork is ever perfect. There's always room for growth. Always, always, always. We're all learning. But I think these buildings are a little too big, at least these far ones, so let's shrink them down. So I'm trying to consider how big that entrance is. So these close ones are probably all right. These ones I want to shrink down. Just to push on that idea of depth a little bit more. Yeah, I have Picarto open and Facebook open in order to compare the comments, because I don't believe it's going through the restream chat. Alright, so now let's start pushing and pulling some of these other elements in here. Let's separate the gate from this hedge work. Yeah, and I do have a story loosely lined up for this. I don't want to reveal a whole lot yet because a lot of it's still up in the air, and I don't want to possibly spoil anything that I want to feel cool. But I will say that levels wise, I plan on there being like 7 levels in total. I'm only going to worry about programming and creating in the game sense the first one as like a demo, and I'll do the concept artwork for all 7, and then the final like yay you won the game kind of area, and in that way I'm going to put out an art book with all the concept art and the final artwork and all that stuff, and each floor or level is going to have, well, let's just call them stages. Each stage is going to have a different theme to it, and I'm looking forward to playing around with the colors and the shape languages to each of them. I want to do something different than, this is the fire stage, this is the ice stage, this is the water stage, and I already know what those themes are going to be, and it's something that I want to hold off until later on. But overall, the main character is just something as simple as coming to this mountain because she wants to carve her name as this adventurer, and not many people have traversed, well, many adventurers traverse this mountain, but not many come out on top in order to succeed. And so she wants to mark herself as one of those adventurers. And I don't even know what I want to have on top, like even just blank like this for now. So now I'm happier with this composition and shape language compared to this piece. Oh yeah, there will be, for sure. Definitely having monsters and enemies. So the gameplay, I want it to be kind of like Dark Souls mix Monster Hunter. So probably going to consider a little bit more higher pace movement and action, and because I want the feel to be solid. There'll be enemies in order to encounter. There's going to be a boss at each level at the end, and I'm thinking of having either through the enemies or maybe a mini boss where that enemy will have maybe one of the main boss's abilities in like a toned down fashion, so that tackling the mini boss or certain enemies, you're kind of, the game is training the player on how to tackle that ability. And it's just trying to keeping game design in consideration when it comes to that kind of stuff. So this I like, but I like the composition to this a little bit more, and we'll see as it evolves. And it's pretty funny how it all evolved from this. So I'm just going to bust that out, and let's start labeling some of these layers. So thumbnails, first pass, refine shapes and composition, and let's build up from here. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's because it's good game design in order to teach it. Like, for example, Super Meat Boy. It doesn't throw you to like the crazy situations stage one. It teaches you one game mechanic in a safe way, and then it removes some of that safety net, and then it teaches you a second game mechanic in a safe way, and then it removes the safety net, and then it combines those two different ideas together, and that's how the complexity builds up and gets interesting and fun and cool. And it's kind of what I'm trying to... I pay attention to a lot of game design document talk and whatnot on the side, and I just try to take those concepts that other people have learned and like, okay, let's keep that in mind as I do mine. I want to darken up the mountains because I still want those clouds that cut through. I remember driving, going on a car ride with a couple of friends from Calgary to Vancouver, and just seeing those cool clouds cutting through the middle of these mountains during our drive. But yeah, it's RPG-esque, and what else? Crafting weapons and armor. Oh yeah, it's a great platformer for mechanics, and even just take a look at... Oh, thanks. Yeah, and if you take a look at like other games that you enjoy playing that is similar to the game type that you want to make, a lot of it is also, what do they do right? What do they do that kind of you don't agree with or annoys you or what have you, and keep that in mind and learn from that. Even like with each level, I plan on having with the different monsters, you get different monster parts, and that's where you can go back to the town to sell some of those parts, and that's how you get the money, as opposed to, like, let's say there's a wolf in there for some weird reason, and then you kill the wolf, and it's always weird in an RPG where it's like you gain 7 gold that dropped off the wolf. It's like, well, how did the wolf get gold? Why does it have gold in the first place? That's weird. So you just take monster parts to town and sell them, and that's how you get the currency. But also you can use the parts in order to craft weapons and armor and potion like items that's going to help you out. I'm already looking at like it gets a little scary when you start adding up all the different systems, but you know, for combat gets a little boring if it's just attack value, defense value, and that's it, because it's really predictable on understanding who's going to win in that outcome. But if you, and that's why condition effects are a thing. It's because it adds a little bit of that randomization that forces you to do something else than just attack. You have to think things through a little bit more. So I definitely want to have those the typical conditions like poison, paralysis, and stuff like that. Let's lower this down a little bit. But that's long term, later on down the road kind of idea. Once I get the character going, the first things I'm going to be pushing on is the movement. I'm going to be in this simple space, just once the character is modeled and rigged, even modeled like boxy, but fully rigged, I can start animating that and start building on the programming and get the feeling of the movement good. Because once the movement is good and feels fun, that's what's going to help make the game feel fun in the long run, as like a start. And then it's just building up from there. So for here, let's start getting some tree shapes. So let's, you know, this forest that's kicking around out here. And actually, I should make these a little bit bigger, considering of how maybe there's some trees that are just like roaming back in this area. Just a continuation. Yeah, if any ideas sound dumb or sound like it wouldn't be fun, hey, I'm all ears, because it's all about making the game fun, right? That's why we play it, first and foremost. Oh really? Yeah, I saw it and I was intrigued by it. And I only put in like an hour into it. I think it says more, but it could have been that I had it on and I fell asleep for a little while too. It's interesting. I haven't played enough in order to feel out the whole idea quite yet, but I'm definitely intrigued. You know what? Let's still paint some more before I get into line work. So I need to feel out these shapes a little bit more. So let's get some bushes in here. But yeah, I definitely want to. I kind of like the combat system. I like how they tackle the turn-based element stuff. And being able to like build up from one hit like was it 2 hit combos into 3 hit combos, or is it like 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 when you have like you do so much of it? Oh really? Yeah, I've only that was the first one I tried, and I see that there's a sequel to that direct one coming out later on. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this a little on the cartoony side when it comes to the style, just so that it's a little more manageable to 3D model and rig, and even on the animation side, it's not gonna feel as wrong or off if the animation isn't perfect. So that's one nice thing with stylization is you can get away with a little bit more. Okay, I don't like these parallels. Yeah, and didn't they put some of those Atelier games, isn't there like a re-release or something like that? Or a revamp or what have you? So what about those games are you enjoying that makes you interested in them? Just out of curiosity. Is it the story, certain game mechanics? Is it the feel of it overall, the characters? I'm guessing it's different characters with each one usually, like Final Fantasy. Yeah, and Danny, like what I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of messing around with the shapes, and I'm kind of breaking up those very basic shapes into a little bit more complex ones, just pushing and pulling in the edges a little bit. Just trying to feel out the shapes as a whole, if making them work for the composition and the feel. So just in case you're curious of why I'm not going into line work right away, like how I used to normally go through it. I've been trying to tackle it like this a little bit more, just to make sure that the overall shape language reads, since that is so important. Yeah, and I was so caught up with work today, I totally forgot that I was going to consider doing a one panel per day drawing, which I might do before I crash for the night. I'm drawing every day. I know this is off topic, but last stream I ended up sketching something after a long time, and it's not really much. It's honestly just a really messy sketch of what would be a giant cowboy ferret. But the point is I finished it to the point where I was proud of and liked some bits, in which I haven't had that in a long time. I wanted to send this to really thank you for giving me that excitement to draw again. Obviously I was pretty rusty. Oh dude, like don't feel bad about being too rusty. It's practice, right? Really proud of it. Here's a ferret boy. Yeah, and you know, for being rusty, it's not that bad. Like, that has this nice S shape overall with the body, and it's just being a little more confident, and that takes a little bit of time in order to do. But yeah, thumbs up. Keep it up. Hey, creating is so much fun, right? You can craft your own weapons and bombs. You can go through for just a story or really understand the way ingredients interact with each other to make mega good stuff. Oh, okay. So it's like the crafting system is like what really catches your vibe. But yeah, glad that you're like, it's never feel bad about it's not good enough. It's, if you want to improve, you're never gonna feel like it's good enough. And you know, like, this, I'm not good enough, but it was just an early part of the process. And it's all about failing fast. And that's why thumbnails are so great for that, because it's trying a bunch of ideas, what works, what doesn't work, and take the elements you like, blow it up a little bit bigger, and iterate and improve upon it. And even here, like by the end of the last stream, where it was like 3 hours, this is how far I got, which I wasn't happy about getting only this far in 3 hours, but hey, it's, you know, I sucked it up. And even now, I'm just like ripping it all apart. Good, but it's part of the process. It's how you learn and improve and try things out. Because the most important thing is just making sure that the next iteration is better than the previous one. Kind of deal. So here, let's. This should be like a little bit bigger. And you know, maybe have some extra. But yeah, that's why I like about going to what you're saying there, Heather. It's one thing that I enjoy with Monster Hunter is the leveling system in there. It's your character doesn't level up with stats and all that kind of stuff and goes up in like level 2. It's just the leveling system is a lot of it's on the player side. You learn how to deal with the monsters and their move sets and what they can and can't do and where you should position yourself and the timing of your swings with various things, various weapons, which makes a big difference. And some weapons you might feel more comfortable with certain monsters versus others. It's so cool in that regard, as I think. And that's what got me hooked on it. And then also with all the crafting, where you go out and you go searching for like herbs and blue mushrooms in order to make potions, and then honey to combine with potions to make mega potions that heals more, and how each of the monsters, for the most part, they have their own like personality and whatnot. The only thing that I wish they had was a stronger story, and I'm so not a fan of how they are treating the movie. But you know, whatever. I don't plan on watching it unless it appears on Netflix at some point. Then I'll check it out. And I'm trying to think of what other RPGs out there has like cool crafting systems, or like you craft your gear and weapons and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Though I should get around to get back to Tales of Berseria. Though I'm afraid I have to like start from the beginning because I forget all the story and everything. I played when it first came out and then stopped. I got busy with something. I enjoyed the Tales games to a degree up until getting to those bosses where it's kind of like if you're lucky or not that they're going to one-shot you. Oh yeah, Witcher 3. Yeah. I never bothered so much with the crafting in Witcher 3. At least with the weapons and armor. from like the different schools and everything. I was just like, you know, if I craft that now, I already have a better sword, so why bother? But yeah, crafting like potions and oils and bombs and all that, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so wispy clouds don't have a whole lot of shadow on them. Yeah, for sure. And usually from all the roaming around that I do, I usually don't have to worry for the most part when it comes to crafting. Just because as I'm running, I'm usually like spamming the pickup button. But yeah, even in the D&D game that I DM, I have a little crafting system that I put together. The players haven't made a lot of use out of it yet, but I don't force them to. It's their choice. But there will probably be opportunities where they're going to need to. Like they're coming up with a place where they're going to have to go underwater for long periods of time. And we'll see if they end up working their way to crafting their own way of being able to breathe underwater for periods of time. One of them is kind of learning alchemy through poison work, but we'll see how that goes. We'll just have clouds covering up all this. Anyway, let's have these bigger plates on the bottom. Let's make sure it has some perspective considered. Some nice thickness in. Yeah, and someone mentioned to me last time it'd be cool to have some like elements where you can see yourself like going outside of the mountain and crawling back in. And I was like, yeah, that was kind of an idea that I was planning on, but I should showcase that a little bit more. How potion will work, then rely on yeah, true. And in that game, it the one thing that is really cool about it is if you plan ahead and you know what you're about to come up against, you can kind of make it easy on yourself, or you can just dive in without a good chunk of that those prep elements and give yourself a harder time with it. And actually I'm gonna leave this blank for now because I want to think of like having some cool structures on the mountain. So this is going that way, so let's get another kind of this direction here. Oh yeah, did you end up Did you play Breath of the Wild anymore? If so, how did it go? Are you kind of feeling out are you blocking a lot more and dealing with that? Food helps, like have like a lot of food, that way when you take some damage you can easily like quickly pause into your menu and just scarf down something to regen some hearts. Oh, you're stuck now? Still struggling with where you're at? Oh yeah, because those guys. Man, I forgot what they're called off the top of my head. But what you can do with them is you can take some of those like metal blocks with you, and just hold the blocks in the way. No. Well, it's kind of hard to go the wrong direction because you need to go to the first 4 shrines that are on that plateau. Because each of those shrines are going to give you the key abilities for the rest of the game, and you'll get rewarded with an item that helps you get off of the plateau. Yeah, so it's like the plateau, consider like what you're doing right now, that's like the tutorial level. And once you get comfortable with what happens on that plateau, you're prepared for it's like training you on how to play the game so that you're ready for going out to the world. And but like there's more out there, but at least it gives you the basics, and it gives you all the main tools. Like if you wanted to, you could. It would be really bad for if you've never really like played much of the game to go straight to Ganon, but once you finish the tutorial stage, one of your main quests is defeat Ganon, and you could just go straight to Hyrule Castle and take him down, or attempt to. And that's basically what Let's Players, not Let's Players, but speed runners do. And they also do tricks in order to bypass a lot of the tutorial stuff too. So they just like kind of glitch themselves into the various whatchamacallit shrines. But yeah, magnesis, bombs, remote bombs, cryosis, I think it's called. It's basically like freeze, and what's the stasis? Those are like the key ones on top of like the abilities. Yeah, the lasers, they do a lot, but once you learn how to deal with those enemies, they're not that bad. But yeah, just shield up, or what you can do is just use your magnesis to like pick up some blocks if there's some of those metal blocks or stuff in the way, and just hide behind it and force them to come to you. Once they see you, just hide. You can even take the metal blocks with magnet and just like swing it around and bash them, or you can just like set it down in order to create a blockade to force them to maneuver to you. It's like honestly, you can actually apply a lot of your engineering skills and ways that you think about when you're dealing with work in order to apply it to the game and come up with some ideas. And the cool thing is there's no one only right way to do it. But if you're just like running in and just swinging away, and if you struggle with combat, then do not do that for like the first little while. But yeah, I definitely recommend though, shield up frequently, block or hide. The blocking is going to help out a lot. And then once you get more comfortable with the combat system, that game is just super fun. Crazy fun. Such a good, like, it's so well pieced together. And there's going to be a point where you're going to see bigger versions of those guardians, and just run. Don't try to fight the bigger ones. Just run. Stay out of their sight. And you'll know what I mean when one sees you. Because those little ones are like nothing compared to it. Like, if you were decent with the combat, you could take them down. They're little, because they have a lot of hit points, and the weapons you get early on, they're not super strong. Close you for now. But yeah, I've been making progress on Animal Crossing. I got Mabel Shops is under construction. The Nook station is being upgraded, and the Tom Brothers, they already have their shop like upgraded to the larger one. That was like the first one to get upgraded out of everything, which is funny. Okay. So I'm still with this mindset of these like rounder hut-shaped things. So let's stick with that. I think what's cool with it is it kind of meshes with the trees. Let's shape up some of these trees a little bit more over here. It's already kind of in that S shape, so let's go something little the opposite S shape. But yeah, I hopped into Animal Crossing just to do some, do my running around. I didn't want to spend too much time. It's kind of more like Animal Crossing is going to be more my like while I'm on the spin cycle, getting some exercise. But yeah, Atelier Rise, that's been kind of, I've been trying it out as I just like go to bed and chill and relax for the night before falling asleep. Right on. Thumbs up. So you'll start feeling a little bit more with the combat. But glad that you got through that. Yeah, and whenever you have magnesis going, you're going to be able to see a lot of... because anything that's magnetic within a certain range, it's going to light up. So if you're near like a lake and there's a metal chest underwater, if you turn magnesis on, it's going to light up like no tomorrow. You're going to see it very easily and grab it and pick it up and pull it out of the water. The other thing is if you have amiibos, then you can get some pretty cool stuff. If you have any of the Zelda ones, then there's a really good chance you'll get some weapons. So if you're a little low on stock, then you can use them. The other thing too is, I don't know if it's still a restriction, but I know I got this with Twilight Princess, and I played through till Wolf Link had the 20 hearts. So whenever I use this, I get like a little Wolf Link pet that has full 20 hearts helping me out. And some people might be like, well, Josh, that's cheating. It's like, no, like, you know, it's part of the game, and I've already beaten it once without even touching Wolf Link, so it's just like whatever. But if you struggle, then you know that's an option if you have any amiibos. The non-Zelda ones, they just kind of give you food, which is still handy. Or ores or stuff like that. So, and you can use them once per day, each amiibo. So, Itsachi, are you doing any more artwork today? Or are you just relaxing, or... Just curious if you're doing anything super cool and interesting. And a side note too, thank you everyone who is hanging out on the stream. Much appreciated. It's like one of the few ways that I'm getting some socializing in our wonderful world state. It's kind of why I wanted to get back into doing the streaming, is just in order to like interact with some people. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna be like drop your like studying is important, so you know, good for you for doing that. I was just curious, so. Yeah, I got all my lesson plans ready for the week. So that's good. So any extra time that I can find later on during the rest of this week, I can put it towards next week's classes. Oh, yeah, for sure. Hey, you're one of the first ones that started talking on the stream, so yeah, of course I'm gonna... And also you shared your weasel drawing. But yeah, inside this mountain, this dungeon, that I have planned. It's going to be like this massive. It's not going to be like 2 or 3 or 4 rooms. It's going to be, I'm thinking like a larger scale layout. Some places might feel like it's almost an outdoorsy place. Like there might be, like imagine if the mountain is hollow and has all these rooms all over in it for the most part. It's not going to feel like mineshaft like, but hopefully more interesting. So we'll see how it goes as I get that far on the design side. Yeah, let's pull that out a little bit more. Yeah. Sounds like you're starting to get the flow of it. That's good. Yeah, so each of the shrines as you go through the game, it's pretty much just like one puzzle. The ones that kind of are annoying are the ones that involve motion controls, but otherwise it's pretty fun. And then there are the Divine Beasts. Those are like the fun dungeons. Taking a moment to bounce to Facebook in case there was any comments or anything. Yeah, what's pretty cool overall is also is the fact that the magnesis, the cryo, and the stasis abilities, they're fairly new for Zelda games, as far as I know. I haven't played all of them, but they're fairly new in concept, especially stasis. And then it's just like really interesting of a lot of things you can do with it. Yeah, and while making this game too, I'm going to be teaching myself Blender, so that'll be a cool and interesting experience. I'm so used to Maya. I just don't want to spend like $2,000 a year just to keep up my Maya license. So I figure it's about time to. I still get like the education license at least for work, but yeah, I don't want to spend $2,000 when I'm not creating anything that's getting a return in any way, shape, or form to compensate for making use out of it. Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. I keep forgetting about that. See, like, the great thing about Flip the Canvas is now I can see that this building is so off balance. And this pillar kind of looks a little too wobbly. So, yeah, it's something that I should be a little bit more paying attention to. So thank you for that. So let's go and fix that. And you know what? Let's get this, like, maybe a cool little chimney out of this one. Yeah, let's trim this down a little bit. Actually, here it would make a little more sense to actually start seeing, maybe I'll have the cloud just end a little earlier right there, and then boom, this out of this corner right here. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, and then once you get to certain story beats, it'll unlock, the game will start introducing different colored bokoblins. So the different colors are different difficulties, which is pretty cool. Thank you for the whole, it already looks good so far, Itsashi. Slowly coming along. But yeah, it's all simple shapes. And just slowly building up. I'm just taking my time. I'm not working for any studio on this. It's me. And I'm a little on the slow end when it comes to environments, because I want to make sure that it kind of like looks good. So and then maybe this particular building, maybe its chimney is like on this side right here. And maybe there's like a door. Actually, the door's going to be tinier. Oh, that's cool. Like, that's one thing that I should have done by now is research, look up reference material for villages near volcanoes. But what gave me the idea for doing these kinds of buildings, there's this concept artist here. Let's see if I can find. I have some concept art from various artists that I found on ArtStation that I have cycle as my backgrounds. And there's this cool artist right here has these like really interesting shapes, like a winter version and then like a summer version of these like cool houses. And then there's also these cool houses too. So I might actually change it up a little bit more like this. Oh yeah, for sure. And it's all just starting off with some cool shapes, and then anything that's a little off balance, you can see like just draw some supports and you're good to go. So I'm kind of just exploring with these kinds of buildings right now, but I might end up gravitating towards, actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let us make that change. And you know what? I'm actually going to start going on to pencils now. A little too big. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going for, because as the game progresses, I want a lot of the environmental story and the lore to this location and this dungeon space and its purpose and all that kind of stuff. You as the player kind of learn slowly as you progress through the game, and it could be some elements like you find an item on the ground, like a book that has some written lore from a past adventurer who attempted to get far but could only get to a certain point. Maybe you just saw like their skeletal remains, or maybe you might see some runes that mean nothing until you find a tablet or something that kind of has that rune's written word compared to the current written word of the people in order to like translate it, like the Rosetta Stone. I think that's what the Rosetta Stone was that tablet that had 3 different languages for decrypting. And then, you know, maybe you find some sort of linguistic person that's trapped in there, and you help them out, and so they're willing to help you, and you show them some of these scriptures and slowly unlock this stuff. Actually, while I'm at it, let's get some perspective rulers going. Actually, no, I'm gonna still keep loose, but be mindful of perspective. So I'm thinking horizon line. Like, I want the focal point to be basically the cave. So that's going to be pretty much my 1 point perspective. Yeah, and so this stone, like, I'm going to start it off like a cylinder, but I'm going to edge it up some so that it's not perfect. Just to get a little bit more of that older feel kind of vibe. That they weren't able to make these perfectly circular shapes. And you know what? So here to here, let's split up into thirds. That's still above the horizon line. And actually, I'm going to raise this up a little bit more. Yeah, And as I'm moving forward, I'm going to try to be mindful of like the rule of thirds and apply that a little bit more, just to get this cooler, trying to push on the shapes a little bit more. So like here to the bottom, split it up into thirds. 2/3 is this. 1/3 is like this larger base, and even this larger base. Top to bottom, split into thirds, and have like the widest part. I'm trying to not stay on a certain place for too long. Let's get some grass in here. Let's actually just straighten it up a little bit more. And is it part? Yeah. And I kind of want this arch to not feel so bland, where it's just like this solid, even block on it. So how can we tweak up the design of this? Well, I didn't leave myself a lot of room above. Maybe there's like some support structure. And, we're just trying some things. If it doesn't look good, you can always just erase it out. So I don't know, I don't like that right now. So I'll just get rid of that. And down there, and split that off into thirds. This one's going to be like a little higher. And it's just a little under the horizon line. So we're going to see just like a touch at the top. know what? Maybe there's like some rocks and rubble on the bottom, just to give some extra like flavor in there. And yeah, that's fairly vertical, but I want it to be a little thinner at the top. There we go. But yeah, here I'm just looking more at breaking the shapes down even more. I'm still keeping with what I basically outlined earlier, but I'm not held to that. So it gets me trying some different things. Maybe this rock gets thicker in the center area. There we go. And I can think of some like cool design that will go here. Maybe it's kind of beveled in a little bit. Just get some interesting shapes in there a little bit more, and maybe just get some little more of that stone kind of feel. And, you know, like here, I'm thinking like maybe, wow, you're already on a Stasis Shrine. You're on a roll. Sounds like you are finally getting the feeling of the game. That's awesome. And before you go to the last one, Cryo one, which is like up in the wintry mountains, you can do kind of this side quest to bake a meal and talk to the old man, and he'll give you an item that's going to help out up there, or you can just find some hot peppers and cook a bunch of meals with the hot peppers for some cold resist in order to not freeze to death when you're going up into the mountain areas. Because if it gets too cold, you're going to see Link shiver, and his cheeks will go a little red, same with his nose and the tips of the ears, and he'll have like the breath coming out, and he'll start taking some damage if he's out in the cold for too long without anything to keep him warm. Which I think is pretty cool. is where I can start breaking up the side of the road a little bit more. And let's get these like cool tree shapes here. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and even they do a great job with, you don't necessarily need the UI to play the game. Like, they do some great work with his animation and sound effects and stuff like that that helps communicate that information to you. Like in the volcano areas, he sweats a lot and he's hunched over a little, and you can hear him panting, and he eventually takes like some heat damage. So let's get some space for some roots here with this tree. Keep it this simple for now in here. So I might add in a little more texture later on, but I just want to see how it's going to look once I get some line work in there and keep it a little in the cartoonier state of things. Oh, that's funny. Those are from those boulders? And, you know, let's come up with... Let's go with kind of like this shape right here. Yeah, it happens. So. Do you find it less stressing now? So there's the door. Right on. Yeah. So I kind of want these two shapes to be like kind of merged together. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, now that you're getting the swing of it, like that's gonna keep you busy for many hours. So much you could do, so much. But the other nice thing about it too is like you're not forced to do everything if you don't want to. Just wait until you get to like the Koroks and the Korok seeds and hunting them down and. Yeah, seeing the Koroks, they always remind me of I think they're called Kodamas in Princess Mononoke. The little spirits. Alright, so just because I want to draw the main character. So just kind of standing there. And I want the character to have a backpack on. So I think it's funny how adventurers don't really have backpacks and yet they can carry so much stuff. And then she has the shield and the sword is sheathed up. Let's get the mountain in because it's such an important thing. And let's have this kind of piece on top. Yeah. Because it helps like guide the eye down to the... It's by going down that way and then that way. Let's make this kind of seem like it's broken up. Oh, I've been drawing on the wrong layer. Whoops. For scale. So, oh yeah, that's right. That's where I was at. So, I wanted to erase this out. So I wanted to give that hello, pencil. Why is my pencil erasing? I'm not on eraser. Why is everything backwards? this transparency thing. How do I get past the stationary boulder? Oh, I won't tell you directly, but here's a hint. What's the ability you got in that dungeon? What tools do you have at your disposal that you can possibly use and experiment? Okay, why is my alpha down? Alright, so I'm gonna save, close, and reopen this. Brush is doing some weird stuff. And no, I did not do that. I wish. TB Choi, amazing artist. And let's open you up. Safe to close Picardo. So I'm pretty sure the one viewer is me, just paying attention to the stream. Alright. So let's get back into this. There we go, it's working fine now. So I don't know what that was. That was doing some weird stuff earlier. But hey, it works. Where was I? Right. Yeah, and that's kind of like half and half. I don't want that. Now, I could do that, or 1, 2, 3. Kind of lower. Actually, I like that a little bit more. One, 2, 3. Actually, I think it would be cool just to make it unbalanced. Did you figure it out, Heather? I think that's a little more interesting. And then maybe because of this, there's some supports. Excuse me. You know what? It's been a while. Let's flip it. Oh, I don't want it leaning back. I don't want to disrupt that from being visible. them to be like bulbous going out. Maybe this one, it's like fairly flat on the backside and just a lot more shape on the front. Maybe this one actually has like some support stilts. Across the way, yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm starting to like this much more versus this older concept. I just need to figure out more of them for the mountain itself, but I'm liking the composition a lot more, the shapes. Oof. Yeah, actually I want the building smaller than that. Or do I? Okay, so this door is... Actually, let's get Skylar. Yeah, Skylar's too tall. Doors like this. Skylar should be like half that height. Let's go a little smaller. some work. We've been slow, but now I have to clean up the store and get ready to go home. Right on, Danny. Thanks for hanging out and stopping by. Good luck with cleanup and getting home. Hope you stay safe. And glad to see you popping around, and hope you're doing well. Sorry, I should have... my brain's just been like all over and quiet all at the same time. I should have talked a little bit more. But yeah, good luck. Thank you a huge amount for hanging out. Much appreciated. So this building, by the time it gets to about here, should be like this tall. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink these buildings down. How about that? Yeah, I gotta check my perspective here. Oh, for sure. The next one will be on Friday. I'm gonna be doing these Mondays and Fridays. So that's that tall. And the middle is kind of like there. So if I do this, okay, I can deal with that. Delete. Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to check my perspective that everything was gonna, like, the buildings weren't taller. I wanted the archway to be like the tallest structure, and since this has been around for a while, let's get some moss on here. Like moss is growing up, maybe some vines also. Ooh, actually, yeah. Just to like add so much more to the age of it. Make sure I'm not having any tangents kicking around. Yeah, let's get a little bit like over here. Oh no, that's covering up that cloud. I don't want to mess with that cloud. So let's do like a little bit here. So because like now is where we can start adding in, get some ideas in here, and break up the textures and get some cool ideas. Like in these like cracks, there's gonna be some like dirt buildup, and when it rains, water is gonna be like storing in there. Maybe there's like some pools, some puddles, or at least some holes. So here's we get to like think of all the cool little things as well. So get like this bush. And I don't want to keep that same like similar directional sphere or oval. Get some rocks on the road, because no road's perfect. Maybe some track marks from constant wagons. Wagons and carts. To water. And let's get a tree right here. I wanted to be this one be like taller. Oh yeah, I don't need. Oh yeah, that's the mountain. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's slowly building up. And that's the nice thing at this stage. It's starting to come together. Some ideas are starting to solidify in order to make decisions. This is where like the fun really starts to really drive in. So, and the pencils are like helping out with that. And I wouldn't have gotten this far if it wasn't for even doing these really bad thumbnails, exploring a little bit, and then sitting back to simplifying the shapes and building up from there. So it's all part of the process of exploration and slowly building up the ideas. So oops, not that layer. There we go. So did you figure out how to get past that boulder? Maybe some mushrooms. Some fungi. It's growing on these trees. Nice. Yeah, so now that you know stasis, that's like another function that stasis can do. That opens up a lot of other possibilities and ideas. And it's easy to forget that one because it's so different of an ability in a Zelda game. But you'll probably start thinking of like, oh, what if I try stasis here? And you'll find like boulders out in the real world. You can actually do that. What some speed runners would do is once they get through all of the shrines, and when they rush to Hyrule Castle, they'll just like, there's a specific boulder they'll go to, and they'll stasis, smash it up, hang on, and then when stasis explodes, they go flying with the boulder, and they time it where they jump up and then paraglide, and it carries that momentum still, and so they go sailing till they're like pretty much at the castle. It is insane. So, of what those speedrunners can do. So let's push these tree shapes to help with the flow. So is Jason having fun now that he's back to playing some video games again, here and there? Here, I'm just turning the music down a little bit, and I'll increase it on the stream. It's just like a little loud for me to think. Oh, that's rewinding. That's not volume. There we go. That is volume. He must be loving the VR that you and your folks got him. Maybe there's another little minier branch with some extra leaves. They're just like popping up right here. That feels like an odd spot. So does your husband play much in the way of games? So I remember meeting him the one time, but I think that was it. Nice. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's toss another building right here. Let's. Will be in nice shape. I want to kind of help frame up. I think I'm going to edit this one some, just to help frame up this entrance a little bit more. Yeah, so if he likes FPSs, has he played Borderlands? Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, he probably just likes more of the competitive FPS stuff, right? That's what it's starting to sound like. Yeah, I enjoyed the zombie mode more than anything else when it came to Call of Duty games. I had a great time when I was in San Francisco because I got to play around with, at this game company, some of the Call of Duty models and motion capture data and all that, because of a project that I was working on, which never got to see the light of day, but you know, them's the breaks. It was a very cool experience, and I got to work with a guy who worked on, I think it was Black Ops 2. It was whichever Call of Duty where like the initial stage was the submarine. Oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, Borderlands is so great for like cooperative stuff. Oh, I haven't gotten around to playing too much of 3. I'm like still in the early levels of it. I was trying Flak and I didn't like him, so I've been playing what's her name with the giant mech, pretty much. And what makes her fun is multiplayer, because you can have someone like hop on the back, and the people I was playing with, they kind of like just, they got too busy, or their our schedules didn't align well, so we just kind of stopped. There we go. So I'm liking this a lot more because it's helping to frame. I'm just going to darken this just because it's important. But at least this is helping like frame that space right there, and I'm still going to have the road leading to that, to the entrance. Excuse me. Okay, so let's get some more stuff in here. It's pretty blank there, and I don't have the clouds in yet, but it's starting to come in, and I am becoming more and more pleased with this for sure. Starting to get some more character, but I'm not 100% happy with the mountain itself yet, but that I will move on to shortly for sure. Life's pretty good. I can't complain. I'm enjoying life. I do not have a girlfriend. I am single, and I do not mind. I just haven't found the right person. And I'm not like holding off, but it's just trying to find someone who I gel with well, who shares a lot of like similar interests, who I feel like I can hold a conversation with well, stuff like that. So, we'll see. But I've learned to enjoy the single life, because it means I have time. I can be selfish a little bit and have fun with my projects. So it is what it is. Like, I dated a couple interesting people, but it didn't work out in the long run, so yeah. They were all pretty cool in their own right, and from what I hear, they're all doing really well, so that's awesome. So maybe this one I'll have the extra little bit of foliage starting to grow out. But yeah, my mom's doing all right, so I help her out a lot whenever I can. Work is going pretty okay. Like, I teach out of college, so can't go wrong with that. I've always enjoyed being single, being in a relationship. Oh yeah, for sure. I went through. Yeah, exactly, right. And like I went through that depression for a long while, and sometimes I get like that loneliness kind of vibe. There's no escaping it, because like despite being an introvert, I'm still human, and we are social creatures. That's how we've been built for survival mechanisms. If you ever want to like listen to like a lot of cool stuff about that, check out oh man, what's his name? I feel bad because I can't remember his name. He goes around and talks to businesses and it's gonna bug me for a long time now. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. What's his name? Simon Sinek. He has a lot of amazing talks on human behavior, how businesses should be arranged and set up in order to help with mental health and people feeling like a part of the team and all that. I just love everything that he talks about there. Hey Brian, how's it going? But yeah, you gotta be happy. And like one thing I find too is there's a lot of people out there who want to jump into relationships, but they haven't focused on being happy themselves, and it doesn't help the situation at all. But yeah, thanks for hanging out in the chat. I should call you sometime soon. How have you been, man? Okay, let's block in some of these clouds, and then I can drop that old painting, and we can just build up from the line art. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm enjoying life, and I'm enjoying this project. I am actually like looking forward to when I get to the programming and getting through those struggles and problem solving myself out of those struggles, and just getting those like feel good moments of when the systems start coming together, and or even just hitting forward on the keypad and seeing the character moving around. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm down with that. Board games with after vaccination. Yeah. I haven't played too many board games in a long time, actually. I bought a couple, mostly for the minis. for like D&D, and then, you know, COVID, so I have like a couple of boxes of just minis, and I actually got rid of like the boards themselves because they were just taking up too much space. I don't have like a lot of space over where I'm at, so I'm just like, But yeah, like Heather, I'm glad that Jay is finishing off with that, and that he's focusing on what's fun for him, right? And he's spending a lot of time with Maymay because, you know, she's a lot of his life, and she provides a lot of that fun for him too. I did here and there. I get bored really easily with painting the minis because I like doing this stuff more. So. No, I haven't gotten into Gloomhaven at all. What the board games I got were the Dark Souls one, because those figures were just like super cool. And then what's that zombie one where you can have multiple players, and then there's the tanky one that comes in. Each character has a different ability. There's the fantasy version of that, and that's that was the board game. Here, I should look that up. Zombie board game. As if I can't remember the top of my head. Yeah, and here's like boom. Zombicide. So there's a fantasy version of Zombicide, and I was just like, oh man, these minis are so cool for like D&D and whatnot. And so there's a couple of them. There's the Green Horde. There is one that's kind of like evil, like dogs and whatnot. Oh, Gloomhaven looks pretty interesting. Oh, cool. I am digging how this concept piece is coming along. And let's get some mountain research. Oh, Mamie loves board games? That's cool. Mountainscape. Sure, let's take a look at that. Actually, before I look up mountainscapes, maybe I should work more with the shape here. It's like the newer version of Hero Quest, but more complex. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I did a quick Google search just to see the box art and what was all like built into it. Yeah, you're no longer with Science North, are you? I've seen a bunch of your photos where you're doing a lot of camp stuff or off in Killarney and various travels. Yeah, those of you on Twitch, it's I'm talking to a buddy through the Facebook one. Oh, right, yeah. I totally forgot that you bounced to the Coast Guard also. That's cool. Are you able to work during your wonderful times? Yeah. Well, that's good. Like, you know, a lot of fresh air and exercise and all that. I have done a fraction of that. But I got a spin bike in order to help me, like, get some exercise at home. And, because there's, like, a treadmill behind me, but the ceiling's so short that I can't stand up straight in order to use it. So I use the spin bike while I play video games. Gives me like an opportunity to like just chill. Oh, cool. Yeah, I might as well just like, I don't know, I figured I'd try streaming via Twitch and YouTube. And I think after like a couple of months, I'm gonna see how things go. I might just go straight to just Twitch if there isn't much happening from Facebook or YouTube specifically. I'm just gonna pop on my channel to see if there's been any from conversation over there. Oh, right, that's where Danny was messaging from. So yeah, I'll stick to that too. Though I like the fact that this restream thing, I'm able to stream to those multiple locations all at the same time. Oh, it's great to have you there, Brian. Oh, it's been a while since I flipped the canvas. Let's do that. Oh God, it looks so different. It's stuck on there for too long. Let's get some tall grass. Maybe some that are bent. And I'll look at some. Let's stick to the mountain for now. Let's work with the mountain. It's important. It is like a character in and of itself. But yeah, welcome to the stream. I am always always down for people hanging out and just having a nice chat. But yeah, like, curious, are you hitting the brackets to change the brush size? Yeah, the square brackets changes the brush size in Clip Studio Paint also. So my hand is usually on, thumb is on spacebar, and then I usually have my index finger on E just to quickly switch to eraser, because once I let go of E, I'm back on brush again. And it's the same in Photoshop. And if it accidentally stays on E, then I can use my thumb to quickly bounce back to like brush. But I also changed the V key to pencil, but I did that through keyboard shortcuts, editing it a little bit, just to have a little bit more within my range. And then if it was Photoshop, you could hold down S to quickly go to Lasso Tool, I believe. But Alt is quick for color picker, and it's M in this software for like Lasso Tool. Like, for example, I'm going to lower this because it's kind of tangenting with this cloud shape. And I don't want it to seem like the cloud is going through the platform. Yeah, it's very, very handy, because then you don't have to worry about hitting B for the brush again. So when you're messing around in Photoshop, feel free to try that out, because it's built in there as well. Kind of want something cool at the top. Just to kind of, so there's like a visual coolness goal at the top of the mountain. Maybe there's like some old ruins that are like beat up and under snow and stuff like that. Yeah, and this character, when they get to all the way down there at the end, that cavern, that hole in the cave should be like this big at the very least when she gets all the way down to that end point there. So her scale should be all right. Yeah, I moved away from Photoshop because I didn't want to keep spending $20 a month just for Photoshop alone. Since I teach at a college, I am able to get the education license, but they only let you have that for a year, and then you're stuck with full price again. And, you know, that's just annoying. So, screw that. Yeah, I haven't heard a whole lot about that case. I've been trying to... It's kind of hard to parse of all the real and fake information. I didn't even hear if they managed to get it to for the court to be happening in another area, because I think it's too raw for people in Sudbury, so it's not going to be a fair trial. So. But yeah, when the investigator came by and to get my like information on that, I said my piece. Like, you know, I didn't say like, yeah, of course he did it, like, because I don't know. So, but I just shared what I knew and what I didn't know, and I didn't know a lot. So, but all I know is like I've heard that the family is just freaking destroyed because of everything going on. True. Oh, it's a long thing. Itachi about it. It's something that's like a local big thing for like a small town. So, but yeah, Adobe. I'm just like, I don't even care. Like a lot of the animation and comic book industry and games industry, there's been a lot of, hey, if you don't like Photoshop, then you can go use these softwares, for example. And like Clip Studio Paint, I was already using back when they were Manga Studio, and I really like it. And so I just like migrated there permanently. So it was very handy with that, and it just kind of forced me to use it more, which is great. And the moment that I think it was like not even a month ago, or it could have just been a month ago, where you can import Photoshop brushes into here, into Clip Studio Paint, is just like, oh, that's why I have so many brush packs in here. Once I switch to brushes, like all of these up here are brush packs, and then these are the individual brushes in each of those brush packs. So I've collected a lot. But yeah, we'll see how all that plays out. So I just hope it's fair. So not sure you've heard of a program like Campaign Cartographer. Oh no, I haven't heard of that before. Campaign Cartographer? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the one that I've been using for maps. Is it this one right here? City generator? I've been using this city generator for a while for just like city stuff, but like overall maps, I just kind of draw it myself because I'm usually trying to think of cool shapes that kind of define it. But yeah, like, you know, that Campaign Cartographer seems pretty cool if you need like a map on the fly and all that. Yeah, not that you would want it, just a little artsy thing I've gotten into. Oh yeah. No, but like, yeah, it's it all depends on the need, right? Sometimes I'm just like, let's go something quick because the players are going to this area that I never even bothered to think about, because, you know, players do that all the time with D&D. But yeah, I have like there's a game that I DM, and it's in my own world, and I made the map super big, and it's like a dual, like there's a floating continents that are outside, but let's see, it's upside down. No. So this is kind of like the world that they're in, and then there's like all these floating continents that no one's ever experienced for such a long time. And the campaign has been happening so far in this little tiny country in this little corner of the map. Where's the Cintiq pen? Yeah, they've just been kind of like in this little corner area right here for the past year. So, and they're just finally like traveling around a little bit. So it's a matter of fun. Yeah. But the cool thing is the people the players that I have, they're awesome. Like, there have been a couple of games where I walked in with like all this prep figured out, and I sit down and I set up the scene and I just sit back and they just RP all the way through for like 4 or 5 hours, and I did almost nothing aside from just laughing at their interactions. So it's great. They're loving the story. I'm loving what they're bringing a lot to the table too, and it got me. It forced me to consider just improving a lot more, and to build on my improv skills, just in order to not stress out and overwork myself on all that prep. And I just kind of now write story beats very generically, and then wherever the players decide to go, I try to fit it in their path. And right now they're kind of limited in a way because they're on a boat trip going down this river, and so it's kind of railroading them, but they plan on going down here before I planned all the specific stuff, and it just happens to be coming down this area, so it's working out great. And I've just been like planting some seeds here and there of what's going to be happening. Just some puzzle pieces for them to nibble on. It's been a lot of fun. Let's get some more mountain ski shots. But yeah, if you could find like a good group of players, oh, it's just so much fun. I feel like I'm not investing enough in preparing for DMing here and there. So there's like I have a to-do list right now, which I kind of bounce to at least once a week in order to save my life some stress. But since I started getting some ideas of the next like major dungeon and setting that lore up and everything, it's ignited some energy to want to work on it, so that's cool. But yeah, man, I remember playing so much in high school, and just it was interesting with everybody that was decided to take on the DMing role and just feel out how different everybody was. Like the ones that just like took the rule book and just like, nah, let's story it up, and then those that were just like the complete opposite, where it's like, what's not in the rules? Rules. Oh man. And then everybody else like in between. But yeah, it was good times. Oh man, I am so much happier with this concept piece now. I hope you guys are finding it looking cooler than before. So this to this, and then simplifying those shapes. I think what I'm going to do is let's flush out the forest a little bit more. Just so it seems like it's a little bit more full. So I just have some forest reference on my side monitor. Some hills in there. And because that tree is up on the hill, let's get it raised up. But yeah, the cool thing, there's a couple of elements in this environment which would be great for starting to model in Blender. Trying out box modeling like this archway, and getting some of the organic trees in there. And I'll have to figure out, I'll have to get some shapes of these buildings that there's some variety, but also there's some ways for me to combine them just in order to make it a little bit simpler and easier for the engine. Did I miss anything? So anyone have any cool big plans for the week? Those of us in Ontario, we have our wonderful lockdown. I'm glad that they got a little bit more specific with what that entails. Though I have to still look it up, but I hear that's a little bit more thoroughly outlined so that people aren't confused. Yeah, today is my break day on it. I definitely plan on getting on. I've been averaging 45. Every time I go on, I'm minimizing to 45 minutes, at least. And this week I'm gonna try to up it to 50, and just slowly ramp myself up to an hour. So. I went and got some groceries earlier today, so I don't have to for the next next week, hopefully, if not longer. Let's get some flowers in there. Well, it's gonna hardly be noticeable. But yeah, this is coming along. I think we can get another building in this like plot area. And you know what? Let's raise these clouds because they're gonna get cut off from the new building. Oh, that's cool. Did you just like put in a photo and then it just mapped it out? Oh. Well, that's cool. Yeah, here, I'll, so that people can see. Taking this cool photo and translating it into this, like, cool map. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Good job with that. I like how you use the building's current locations as the spaces, and you can just even up the scale where one building to another is just like a pretty good distance away. I got in the habit of building brushes to make my life easier. So like a brush that would be default like a mountain shape or a tree shape, because that's what helped me keep my sanity. Good night, Heather. Have a good one. I'm going to be heading off soonish once I get this building done. Just want to get just wanted to fill in this little empty space area and get to feel a little bit more fuller. You know what? Let's swing it around like this, and it needs some supports on its front. But yeah, have a good one, Heather. Hope you have a fun week, and you know, from what it seems like, I'll probably see you on Friday. Back on stream for more as I get more work done on this project. Thanks. Yeah, it's I just wanted like some cool shapes, something different from because like my go-to is like fantasy building. Let's go with like, you know, medieval fantasy, tall triangular roof, bland, which it's ideal for like a game because I could just build pieces and then duplicate and build like kind of almost like a Lego set out of them, but I wanted to get something cooler visually, and that's where like these interesting shapes kind of come in. So like maybe this window is like this shape, and this is above the horizon line, so we're not going to see the bottom, we're going to see a little bit of the top if it wasn't angled like so. Yeah, and then these spikes, I'm thinking of them as like support beams coming out, and they're actually going through the roof, and then the roof's coming down on top of it just to break up the silhouette a little bit more. And this, yeah, it would pretty much be covered up on the other side right there. So yeah, I'm very happy with how this is coming along. Oh, this one looks like it's melting. Well, thank you. Yeah, and it's a nice contrast with the archway stuff. Oh no, I don't want to add anything there because I don't want to cover up the top of that mountain. But I want to see something here. Because the peak of that mountain, it's not in like a nice ideal spot. Because it'd probably be better if I put it around here. Doesn't feel as tall, but at least it's going to make it a little bit easier to read. And then I can use the hanging vines here as kind of like a nice framing. It's mirroring there. I don't want to do that. So yeah, then that way that kind of helps get framed by the clouds and the vines that are dragging down. And the entrance down there, it's getting framed by the houses and all that kind of stuff. And let's just want to get some negative space in between this shorter mountain peak spot. You know what? Let's do that where it kind of lands in there. Yeah, so what I might do is I might do some shape language with like the old versus the new architecture. I might just mess around with different shapes with the other concept art pieces. Because I definitely want to do another one where she's at like the foot of the mountain and get a little bit more information of what's happening, what's closer in that space, just so it's not just one simple little archway. Maybe there's like used to be a temple or a series of archways or pillars or something along those lines, but it's just broken and degraded over time and what have you. And I can actually like chip up these corners a little bit just to show some extra wear and tear. But yeah, I think with that, next week I'll ink it up and then start adding in some values, like tighter values and colors, and see how that goes, and slowly add a little bit more when it comes to the details. So, but huge thank you to each and every one of you that came in to hang out in the stream. It's a nice thing that helps with like my mental health for sure, because I don't socialize it enough or much right now. And hey, I get to share this experience also and have some fun with this whole new project. So thank you. Thanks for the interaction. It's nice to chat with some old friends and some new ones. So hope you have a wonderful week, I'll be back doing this on Friday. And stay safe. Have fun. Oh, it's my pleasure. So, yeah, I don't want to be like, boom, it's beautiful and perfect, and I did all the prep work right beforehand. I want to like showcase the struggling parts of the process also, which you don't see much of because it's not as entertaining, right? Like I should add some more trees off in the distance right here, even stuff like that. So, but yeah, it'll be fun. I'm liking how this is moving forward. So, but yeah, see you Friday.